I think he's just sticking around because he's a hero. He's going to fight it through. Top right-hand side, tied actually at the moment with his opponent. It is Liquid Ret. His opponent with an amazing resurgence in Game 2, showing beautiful Warp Prism Harass, Slayer's Puzzle. Now, Greg, we joke, we talk about dual side being auto-loss for Protoss, but why is it such a good map for Zerg?
This third base, or this third base, either one, it's almost impossible to hold. That's just so huge. It's really, really far away from the natural. There's like 3 or 4 different points all along here where Zerg can attack into. Any kind of Roachling timing against that third Nexus, it just, you kill it. It's almost impossible for Protoss to hold that off without committing way too much of their army to want to make a third Nexus. So you just end up having a 2-base all-in every game from Protoss. But if Zerg knows that 2-base all-in is coming, it's actually relatively easy to hold off. So short of anything really silly happening early on, like the +1 Zealot Warp in killing a bunch of drones or something of that sort, 2-base all-ins aren't particularly effective just because there's almost no element of surprise.
You know what I find really interesting too is like what Puzzle could potentially be doing, or at least people at home might be thinking he would think about.
Oh, we actually have a hatchery first.
Well,
it's not a great cannon rush map. There's no particularly good areas for it, so that's not too surprising.
He does have the Forge down though.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he tries for it, because sometimes against hatchery first.
What is that depot doing there? Is there a cannon rush spot for that, I guess?
No, it's not to block a cannon rush. They never do that.
Well, what does it do?
I don't know. That probably stops. I don't know. It looks weird.
Someone from the audience tried to answer. I appreciate that. Again, Canada, you're so friendly. But I can't hear what you're talking about. Now,
I can't believe that gets a laugh. They are really
so
friendly.
Polite. I appreciate that.
The probe was looking like it might drop a pylon. However, Rep very paranoid about that. Sends out 2 drones immediately, as you have to with 15 hatch. Cannon rush can be scary, even if there isn't a good cannon block.
He's just not going to do it, though. He's taking that time. I mean, of course, it was Forge first, but as you said, it's not necessarily a great cannon rush map. Now, I was starting to talk about something I want to say. This last game, he opened up Stargate. He then followed up with a very fast Robo, and he basically manipulated Ret into the army composition he wanted. He got Hydras out of him. Ret didn't feel comfortable attacking, so of course those Colossus became much, much more powerful. I just don't see that kind of strategy working. This game, I think there's more opportunities for the front of the natural or even the third to get attacked by roaches because there's no choke space. You don't get to narrow that down, that army.
Yeah.
But also, I think Ret's the kind of guy you can fool once, but probably not twice. Not in a best of 5.
Yeah, you're right. He's seen it before. He's going to be thinking about how he should have reacted differently last game, and it is just a better map for him to attack with. It's much shorter, much shorter, and much more exposed. So I can't see that working. If anything, I think we're going to see either an Immortal all-in or a Blink Stalker all-in from Puzzle here.
Yeah.
I would definitely think those are his best options for winning, because he is excellent at executing both of them. As we said, he can do pretty much any build, and he likes both of those. So
really feel like one of the things you can key in on for why Puzzle's such a great player is as a Protoss, he does an amazing job getting for himself information. He saw the third basically the second it went down, which lets him know, oh, okay, I'm not facing gas. There's no 2-base timing coming my way. I mean, of course, there is potential for that, like some kind of weird mind game, like a third hatch cancel. But more likely than not, he's getting great information, and he's able to react off of it.
He has a Zealot on the way out, going to poke at the third again. 4 Zerglings in production from Ret, so he will be able to kill that if he gets a good surround puzzle.
Oh.
That's absolutely fine, though. He's just poking in to see what exactly is going on. Honestly, this is kind of early. This is before there's any potential for a drone kill or anything like that. Maybe just doing it in time that he can run it away. It does look like that is the case. And the Stalker coming out to join it, making that a much more powerful little harass force.
Very interesting, because he did see the Queen there, and if you're going to go Stargate build and you want to go after the Queens, that would be one of your primary targets. You really want to do some damage to that Queen. But he's not really thinking about it. We can see him now moving in. There are Lings waiting in the wing. And now he's focusing on the Queen. I think he really wanted to kill it, but he's going to back away. Zealot does almost get surrounded, and now it will get surrounded. Oh, well, no. Maybe
good control from Puzzle, but it will go down anyway. Oh, he almost got trapped there. He's a little bit risky with his Stalker. But he will get away now. He will get all of those Zergling kills. And a couple more Zerglings in production from Ret. Not overreacting. Still making a bunch of drones. That's really, really smart by him. A lot of lower level Zergs, they overreact to that Zealot and the Stalker. There's no follow-up coming to that unless your opponent's playing really weird. And this Overlord would see it coming. So Ret knows that even though that Stalker's still out, he can make drones.
Excellent Overlord scouting, spotting that Stargate at a very pertinent time. It's even before the first Void Ray does come out. And I gotta say, I have to put my trust in Puzzle with his vision for the mid game of this. I mean, on this map, because Stargate is it's just gonna clamp down on your unit count. I mean, if you do 2-base Colossus, like he did that last game to secure his third, I feel like there's so many opportunities for a Max Zerg to run in and make those very few force fields obsolete and get in on that low Colossus count and just run the Protoss over.
One thing I really like from this game is he actually has double creep tumor going. Last game he only had the one and it was denied. Creep spread's so important on here because of the 2-base all-ins. Creep is absolutely crucial in holding off those kind of builds. And he's going to have creep all through this area. That makes surroundings, as you said, which is absolutely important, so much easier. He actually catches the probe coming out. 6 gateways coming down, so this will be a Void Ray into a Warp Gate unit all in. He has 4 gases, so it will be Zealot, Stalker, Sentry. But the probe goes down. That's really, really big for Ret. Anytime you can delay the pylon, that just makes the attack so much slower.
And that is a lot of gateways going up behind this. I mean, this is actually that build we were talking about on Antigua, I think in the Hero series. And it's a 3rd Void Ray coming out, so Phoenix will not be contributing to this. This is going to be a gateway Void Ray timing. And you talked about that probe going down. I think what's also important to note here as well is that just the probe being out at that time kind of sells a timing to Ret. So if
this
Ret
is
reacts,
so smart by Puzzle. He's actually moving out. He knows a counterattack could be coming, so he sends out one of his Void Rays in order to start dealing damage to it and to see if it's coming. And he does see the Zerglings on the way.
Yeah.
Couple of sentries here. He will be able to force field it off. Good force field.
Beautiful
only
force
takes
field.
1.
No chance for a Zergling counter there, and the Roaches are still committed to this. They're all going to die. Every one of them.
They are. However, back at home, he is denying the pylon, and every second he delays this, Ret's actually still making drones. Meaning that as soon, and he's also putting down an infestation pit. That actually might be too much. He might be being too greedy because he still only has 3 hatcheries.
If it is not too much, Greg, then I'm gonna.
Then there's kind of something.
I'm gonna have to complain pretty avidly.
However,
Void Rays,
the Void Ray into Warp Gate build, if it's not a surprise, it's kind of weak. Those Void Rays really delay the Warp Gate attack.
I mean, these Queens are a lot of the anti-air, though. If they can go down.
They are the anti-air.
Yes, they are the anti-air. Tumors are getting destroyed, but that's not really the main point here. Lots of Roaches are out. Now Ret knows the jig is up. He knows the timing is coming his way.
Another pylon coming down. This 3rd probe he's had to send out to do that. That is the one hitch in his plan so far. He's had a lot of trouble getting that pylon down. But he does have this. It's pretty close. He's warping constantly. Good force fields there. Taking out all the Zerglings without engaging the Roaches at all. Trapping some of the Roaches. And another Void Ray comes in. He's done 3 Void Rays now. And he's already lost 1 Queen. 2nd Queen is pretty low health. Just 1 Spore Crawl here. Really smart by him putting up static defense, knowing he's kind of in trouble here.
This is a great attack angle. I think Ret's best choice might be to counter, to be honest with you. He's going to maybe circle around and go after those pylons. I'm not sure, but this narrow space is so good for force fields.
He does have creep all throughout here, so he will be engaging on that. He also cut off reinforcement. These Roaches won't allow any more units to join.
And he's in.
Everything signed to the
That's
force
not
fields.
enough. Those force fields are allowing too many Roaches in there. They're going to start targeting down the sentries. And with the Queens focusing down the Void Rays, it's just down 2 Void Rays.
Does he have any more? He does another round of force fields, and he does very well. He's picking off a lot of Roaches here. He has another warp in coming in.
He's running out of force fields, so he can't fight here. He's got to back away.
Yeah, you're right. Ret will just overwhelm him. He's got 13 more Roaches in production. No more force fields. He's going to get surrounded here. One more round of force fields that will save this army, but he has to back off. He's not going to kill him.
Beautiful micro. He's doing such a good job of taking on these Zerg segments one at a time.
Wow, and Ret, honestly, Ret's kind of messing up there. He really needed to pull back immediately. And that's a lot of units from Puzzle. I don't know.
I mean, I think with a couple of the decisions from Ret, it might actually turn into, okay, I can attack, but for a moment there, he's running dry on force fields, and he was getting clamped down on. I thought he was looking at being killed, but now as it is, the Protoss is looking pretty strong.
He is. And Ret still does not have a macro hatchery, actually. Same as the last game. He does not have a 4th hatchery down, so he does not have the production he should. He's banking not too many minerals, but he could have a lot more units in these fights.
This is such a narrow space. It's a 3 force field space.
He had more
this is a beautiful engagement for the Protoss.
And Puzzle's control is just so perfect on everything.
Yeah. He does lose that 1 Void Ray. Wanders a little bit too far, but the Stalker's doing a good job. They clean up the flank portion of the Roaches, and now Ret's kind of committed to this, I guess.
More Roaches coming in, though. And maybe 1 force field left maximum. More units joining the fray. The Void Ray does stay alive, and that's still doing full damage. He has a charge. He's keeping it. The Void Ray falls.
Nice.
More units coming in here. Sentry's falling down, and Ret is going to whittle this down. He has 16 more Roaches in production. Ret will hold.
He's just chopping at it like it's a tree. We've got 16 more Roaches
there
coming
we go.
out.
No more force fields.
Sentry's getting targeted down. There's no blink. Another warp in from the Protoss player, but Ret has pushed it back. And I think Ret is going to hold this. He's just fine. Harvester count, just 61 drones versus 48, but I think it's the commitment of the Protoss that's the story here.
Yeah, he has no tech, he has no Twilight Council, no Robo, no Templar access. He's actually making another Void Ray now. So he's going to try and follow it up with another Void Ray Warp Gate all in, and Ret is not going to fall for that. He's just way too far ahead now. actually getting dropped and infestation tech.
I like it. I really do. I think this is a map where you can kind of say, okay, if you want to take your third, I'm going to have easy access to your main. He might actually just knock down the door right here. Rhett's pushing forward, looking to get those stalkers. And he wants to trade these guys out. I don't know if he wants to follow them down that rabbit hole, and it looks like he
will get
won't.
split up with force fields if he goes in here, but instead being smart, just killing off units, picking up the gas. Puzzle. He's had great control all game, but it's just not going to be enough in this situation. He's going to lose the Cyber Core. No more sentries or stalkers for some time. And Rhett's just kind of flooding in here. Good force fields, but not going to be enough.
It's just too much Rhett. He's got +1 range attack upgrade versus these 1 attack upgrade Protoss units, which is, comparable. But again, the Roaches are just so many. 69 supply versus 140 Rhett. And the Void Ray is sitting up there giving it all she's got, but it's just simply not enough as Rhett gets traded out.
Good Zealot warp in there, helping to tank for him, but so many units and so many more units coming in from Rhett. Also now started Infestor production, getting his queens back up, rebuilding his macro at home. And this is much the same as last game. It looks kind of sloppy, but he's just trading very cheap units for very expensive units when he has a better economy. And
the production tab of the Zerg player is just speckled with different tech paths, production, and basically whatever the heck he wants. He's in a pretty good dream scenario. There's no third base for the Protoss, as the circling does indicate once again for the Zerg player. And behind this, you talked about tech. I mean, the Cybernetics core is just now about to finish, so that's even been halted. All he can do is add Void Rays, which is exactly what he is doing. And Infestors, they don't mind Void Rays. They're pretty fantastic for him.
Yeah, they can deal with him really well unless you're out of mana, basically.
Yeah.
You're absolutely fine against a couple of Void Rays.
Then everything's good against Infestors, actually.
That's pretty true.
Probes are good.
I don't know. Infestors are pretty good.
Void Ray has become an instructor.
He's actually putting down a third Nexus. No way he can hold that off if Rhett knows about it. Rhett may actually just go in and kill him here. That's another big massive unit. Targeting down the Nexus.
Yeah, why not?
And that's going to work. It's too exposed because of the design of the natural. He will get the Nexus kill. He's going to lose a lot of units, but it doesn't even matter.
That's it. Puzzle's had enough.
A huge fungal. And Puzzle GG's.
And it's going to be a 2-1 advantage Rhett on dual sight. Absolutely stunning play. I mean, we talked about this map being very difficult for Protoss, so it's almost predictable that you're going to get that 2-base timing. Now, of this variety, this is one of the more rare 2-base timings. It had its potential,
Yeah, I suppose it did, but like you said, one of the more rare builds because it's not particularly good. It really delays the warp gate timing if you don't do a lot of damage early on with something. And honestly, Puzzle didn't even try that hard to do damage. He had a Zealot and a Stalker. He didn't do the four gateway warp in or anything of that sort. He was just kind of hoping that Rhett would get caught off guard. Rhett even had an infestation pit coming down, and he still held it off.
I know, we were kind of talking about that. Like, I thought the Protoss was actually going to win with that because drones were coming out, infestation pit. He scouts out late, but I guess the probe was the only indicator he needed, and the Stargate, I suppose.
Yeah, he didn't start up. The other thing was he didn't even have a macro hatch, but he was still keeping his money low. That's really the macro of Red. He just never missed a larva inject. He had as many larvae as he possibly could. He didn't need the 4th hatchery to spend his money. And he did wear it down. Really nice micro on the engagements, too. Some little mistakes, not pulling back quite in time, but on the whole, he was always coming in from multiple angles, always flanking, always getting the best fight he could.
Okay, so Rhett's actually going to use the restroom, but before we go to a commercial, let's once again give some love to our sponsors, Interceptor Group, Cyberactive, Esports Canada, and of course, those that make the NASL possible, Epson, Azo, Kingston HyperX, GameMinder, and iBuyPower. You guys have been great. Let's go to a commercial and come back and see some more excellent matches.